Alrighty, welcome to another episode of the S.E.M podcast. I'm Zack Hewlett. We got Jack Bryce, and today we are joined all the way from Italy by
That's right.
Elder Salvatore Aurelio. Did I say it right?
Hello. Yeah, actually, I remember like back on my mission, when I was on my mission, I learned how to help people to pronounce my name. And it was like, I would tell people, so say, oh, really? Oh, Aurelio, That was funny.
I
Yeah.
remember that. You were very good at making sure that we knew how to say it right, and I appreciated that a lot.
Well, Italian pride, that
Yeah,
little Italian pride.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for taking time to spend an evening with us, and we just want to catch up in regards to life. It's been far too long since we've chatted.
Oh,
Obviously,
yes.
staying connected via Facebook and other mediums have been good, but it's good to chat with you. So, just
Right,
to
right.
fill you in on the format, we'll talk about pre-mission, the anticipation and getting your call. Then we'll jump over the mission part and talk about life from Scotland
Right.
to now, and then we'll go back to the mission. So the floor is
Sure.
yours, Salvo. Go ahead.
Right. So do you want me to start like from like the very beginning, so how everything started and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
The
yeah.
floor is yours. We want to hear your story.
Okay. So, well, as you know, I am a convert in the church and I joined at the age of 16. And so like I was very blessed to go on a mission by the age of 19, which was kind of unusual back in the days for Italians to leave uh, like for their mission of that specific age. Usually Italians used to leave like at 22, 21. Like you will see older missionaries around.
Hmm.
And I was having like a lot of troubles with high school, and I was very blessed that I managed to, graduate from high school, and then eventually, go on a mission. So that was great. That was a great experience, and well, I my parents are not from the church. They never joined the church. So being the only member of the church in my family, it's been a very big struggle. It was hard to explain to my parents that I was going to go on a mission. And I remember I told my dad like the very first day I joined the church. I told him like whenever I'll turn 19, I'll go on a mission. And I didn't have money. I didn't have but I had a lot of faith, and I knew that that day would have come, and that I would have taken off for my mission, and so that was things just happened. And of course, when I got to the MTC in Preston, as most of us did, well, of course, being Italian was a cultural shock, and I wasn't familiar with. I wasn't familiar with the English accent as such, so I was kind of used to like listening to American missionaries like talking around me, but when I got there, I didn't understand much. Although, like as time went by, I was able to understand more or less, what they were talking about.
Hmm.
Um, the big struggle was like getting to the mission field. That was like the craziest part because I didn't understand really a word of what they were talking about. I would just like be like staring at them and being like yes, yes, and they would be like screaming at my face and say what, and yeah, I felt out of place, and I was like, what the heck am I doing here? But then as time went by and I eventually started to understand people, things like worked out pretty well, I would say.
Yeah. So tell us about the lead up to receiving your call, because
Right,
it's a
right. Yeah.
little bit different than us stateside who have like a set time frame that it kind of just shows up.
Yeah, actually, so when I got my mission call, um, yeah, I had friends around me, even missionaries, like came to my house, which was kind of unusual because my parents were against the church. So things had changed by the time I received my mission call. Um, I was very excited. I didn't know, of course, I was going to Scotland, but I had a dream. Um, a week before getting my mission call, and in the dream I was going to Ireland, which at the end of the day, Ireland and Scotland, like they're like next door neighbors, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't that bad after all. So I was very surprised, and I remember like I was looking at the recommendations on what you should bring with you and stuff like that, and even I remember like looking at the picture of our mission president, President Vriens, back in the days, and I was like, "Who's this old man? You know, what am I gonna do there? You know, it looked like he looked like an actor from a comedy show or something. You know, like American comedy show." But I was like, "Okay, you know, I'll go there. You know, I'll go wherever the Lord will take me." And so that's what I did. And
Awesome.
what else?
So timeline wise, you received your mission call when, and then you were
Yeah.
scheduled to enter the MTC at what point?
Yeah, I think it was like something like 2 months before like actually reporting to the MTC, which was like July 21st, 2004.
Okay.
So yeah, so I was like, I finished school in June, and so I didn't have much time to get ready for not to prepare things, and but I managed to get ready and to go. Yeah, that was like the time, timeline, time frame, whatever. Yeah.
Okay. So you entered the MTC then like October?
No, July 21st was
Oh,
my.
that was when you entered the MTC.
Yeah. I think I
Okay.
spent 2 weeks there or something like that, and then they sent me over to the mission field. Yeah. So it was
Okay.
like summer. We will, play football, like soccer, outside. It was nice, but I kind of felt, I was kind of like in a little prison. I mean, the MTC experience, was, because I couldn't do anything. I didn't understand much, and I actually dropped on weight. And considering how big I've gotten, I should go back to the MTC, to lose some weight. But yeah, and I remember this. Let me tell you this funny story, like very quickly. I remember like my companion, like my MTC companion, was Elder Bird, right?
Okay.
Sean Bird. Yeah, and I remember like people were asking me, "So where are you from?" And I was like, "I'm from Italy," and people were like, "Oh, Italy," It was like, "Wow," and then he will say, "And I'm from Pocatello, Idaho," and
Yeah.
I'm like, "Who cares?" I mean, we don't. No one knows, where Pocatello, Idaho is now. Well, we know what it is, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Big cultural difference, right?
Yeah. Of course,
That's
and
funny.
it was hard. It was hard because for an Italian, pasta is sacred, together with pizza, mozzarella cheese, and you name it. And at the beginning, like the cultural shock is very strong, and you kind of tend to criticize everything and to judge everything and anything. But then you reach a certain stage on your mission where you're like, and that was early, believe me, like early stage on my mission where I was like, you know, I need to love these people. And then like when I started to do that, the whole mission changed because I also changed. So that
Yeah.
was great.
I love that. So
Yeah.
let's skip over the mission real quick and tell us about what life's looked like for you in the last, what is it, 17, 18, 19 years? It's been a long time.
Yeah. Well, it's been my life. It's been a roller coaster because then again, um, I mean, for an average, let's say average, or of course, generally speaking, right? Like for an American, like especially those who come from Utah, where like the church is bigger, there's a bigger community. You kind of go back home. You start studying, and then eventually, at some point, you get married, more or less. I would say within a 10-year frame, you kind of there's not certainty that you're gonna get married, but you will very likely get married. But like in Italy, especially in the south of Italy, where the economy is very bad, it was a big shock coming back home. Because like I didn't have a job. It was hard to find a job, and I started like studying at university, but I didn't complete my degree. So then I had to do other things. I had to do other jobs, and I worked in many different fields, and I worked also in the cinema at some point. with the church for a small project with Bible videos. Because we did some filming here in Sicily, believe it or not.
Oh
We
wow.
filmed the prodigal son and other Bible stories, and I was acting as not as an actor, right? I was working as a production assistant on set and translator, like more like of an interpreter kind of thing, and that
Hmm.
was fun. Then I managed to work also in the music field, also as a production assistant in a theater. I studied jazz for a few years, and I worked at a hotel. That was another prison, and I just recently stopped working there after like, I think 4 years of experience in the hospitality business. Because like I was working too many hours, getting paid too low, and I was getting crazy. So after 3 years, working in a row with no holidays and underpaid, I felt like I need to have a break. But before that, I started to study. I had to do something about my education, which I didn't do. I hadn't done. I mean, in the last 10 years. So I was like, I need to get back to it, and so I started to, after going to the temple in Rome, which is, I'm very happy that we have a temple in Rome, by the way.
Yeah.
Because we used to travel to Switzerland. It was like 28 hours to get to the temple by bus. It was like
Wow.
an everlasting trip, and now like we can go to the temple just by flying for 1 hour, which is great. So after that trip, I enrolled into the Pathway program, the Pathway Connect program, which I finished, and then the pandemic exploded, and for many people this has been like, I mean, this was like the worst period of their time, maybe like the less productive time of their lives. Whereas for me, it was the most productive time of my life, because that's when I enrolled to BYU online.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I'm kind of like in the close to the finishing line, where I think that probably by next year I will graduate, which is great. And I picked up kind of a broad like topic. My degree is called professional studies, with an emphasis on like hospitality and tourism management, because
Hmm.
I've gotten my first certificate in hospitality and tourism management just like 2 years ago, and then like now I just got my TESOL, in order to for me to teach English to foreigners,
Oh
this
wow.
other certificate. And then I'm shooting for my third certificate, which is about, it's kind of funny in a way, but I like it. It's about marriage and family relations, and it's very interesting because you kind of get, kind of learn a lot of things about family, marriage, and all these things. Of course, I'm not married. It's not my fault. I'm not gay, so but things just things just haven't happened as yet, and I guess we're gonna have to have a kind of an eternal perspective. I hope not too eternal when it comes to marriage, but at some point, I hope things are gonna are gonna be better. But right now, I'm working on myself, which it makes me feel very good. I feel very fulfilled especially when it comes to taking classes, and I've gotten good grades. I can say that I am an average student, which I've never been in my whole life.
That's
So it's
awesome.
it's great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah,
That's really good. Pathways is a great program.
it is.
Trying to convince my wife to do it. So
No, it is definitely worth it, and I really like the American system. University system is so different than the Italian one. Because the American system, like, you have to like write a lot of things, especially the online program. You have to write like forever. So I kind of like learned how to write finally, because I can speak, but writing is more intense, especially when it comes to academic writing and stuff like that. Whereas the Italian university, you're gonna be like a very good talker. If you're a good like speaker, and if you've got like good memory, then you'll pass all the exams in the world. So That's kind of like the main difference between the two types of universities.
Yeah, I like one thing you said is not yet. Like your perseverance is very, very at the forefront for you, Salvo. So I know you'll get there. Just keep pushing, and opportunities will happen. I can assure you that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's always good to do something about life. If we look back, even like in to the church history, we can learn a lot of things like from pioneers. They were like pushing on wheels and walking like so many miles, like and under like the worst like weather circumstances, but still they managed to push the wheel, and they managed to make it to the promised land. It's not an easy like trip, but it's still the sacrifice is worth the journey. So
Right.
So tell us a little bit more about the church in your area. So you said you got the Closer Temple now, but are you in a ward there, branch? What is that?
yeah, I am in a ward. Mainly like older people, like families with some children, but not many youth. So to find a girl and it's hard, to find a date, it's hard, So I'm making this public statement here. So if you hear a friend of a friend, no, I'm just kidding. You trying to get a referral from you guys. You never know. Worldwide here, like on.
You never know. You never
You never
know.
know. There's still hope even for you.
That's right.
Right. So
Well, good. So
I mean, the church is good. The church is like growing like very slowly, especially after COVID. Things kind of got hard, I think, for everybody all over the world. But we're kind of like starting to teach new people, and hopefully, things will start to change a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Well, take us back now. You've entered the MTC, and now you're going into the mission field. Tell us about where you served, who you served with, and honestly, there's no real metric or speed in which you need to go through things. Go at your pace and share what you want to share.
Right.
And any spiritual moments, funny stories. I mean, we love those.
Yeah, I mean, the first area was Greenock, west of Glasgow, a very rough area with not many members. When I got there, like we had like 15 people like showing up to church, so it wasn't a lot. And probably that was like my less successful area. And I remember my trainer, Elder Bautista, he saved my life more than 5-6 times as I was trying to cross the road and looking at the wrong side of the road. I remember that, I think that's a classic,
Yeah,
like
I think we all did that.
yeah. I mean, if people would have asked me like after my mission, so what was like the most dangerous thing about your mission, like crossing the streets, because you never know where you have to look at, especially at the beginning of your mission.
Yeah.
Then you kind of get used to it, and then things start to be good. So yeah, I mean, there is like a part of my mission where like I kind of look at myself back at how I was, and at the beginning I was very judgmental, of everything that kind of surrounded me, and I found the work very tiring, especially walking around all the time, and especially when it was raining. And I remember my trainer telling me to smile and to be happy, and I was like walking up the hill, and it was raining, and that was hard. I was like, why should I be smiling? I'm tired. And he said, like the cars are passing by, and there people are looking at you, and so they want to see your smile. I'm like, okay, I'll try that. But it was tough. So yeah, so Greenock, I spent 6 months in Greenock, and yeah, the good part about my mission was like I kind of served like in the kind of central southern part of Scotland, and I had the chance to see like water all around me all the time. That was good because I come from like a sea place, so I need to see water around me, and that was great. And then Dumfries, Dumfries was interesting. I've got some memories about Dumfries.
Who else
And
did you serve with in Greenock?
in Greenock, well, I was also with Elder Mortley.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Elder Mortley, like an Australian guy, like Aussie, Aussie, oi, oi, oi. Yeah, he's such a nice guy. It was hanging the Australian flag outside our window, and yeah, it was cool. It was very funny, and I think it probably has the best, record of all time when it comes to mission experiences, because he didn't write a lot of like journals, but he recorded everything that was going on like during the day on this like tapes. He had lots of tapes and it was recording a lot of things. So I think he has a lot of material, probably even an encyclopedia, like Missionpedia, if you
Mission media. Nice.
Missionpedia, yeah. Yeah, I mean, no offense, but Elder Stratton scared me a lot on my mission. I, even though I loved him by the end of my mission, but it kind of like was hard to follow sometimes. Um, and there was an English missionary who was sent to the rescue. At the moment, I can't recall his name, unfortunately, but it was like shorter than me, amazing guy, and he helped me out a lot. He really helped me out a lot, and so that was kind of a tough time, on my mission. I think when you kind of don't get along too well with somebody, but then that somebody's going through something, so you kind of understand that the person is going through something, and sometimes things kind of get unbearable and hard. But then after that, I spent 4.5 months in Dumfries, and I served also with Elder Erickson. And because of him, and I'm not blaming him, maybe my bad driving too, I dented a car as I was like trying to go like doing the rear, going backward with my car.
Mhm.
And it was like going right, left, right, left, right, left. I hit the car, and then like I think the very next day we didn't have a car. They removed the car away from us. I was too dangerous, and
No
Jeez.
car in Dumfries.
they removed it from us for a while.
Wow, that would be tough.
Yeah, but the very first day in Dumfries, actually the second day, our car was nowhere to be found because somebody had stolen our car. So our car got stolen like on my second day in Dumfries. So it was destiny. Car wasn't meant to be there after all.
Man.
Wow.
And then Kirkcaldy was an amazing city and place. And I served with Elder Ras Bass, amazing guy. Great guitar player. He also has a nice voice. And we used to sing together. And we sang like during not general conference, I mean song conference together. It was nice. We had some really great times together, and we had some baptisms, some success, a lot of spiritual experiences, and yeah, I guess I was a good influence on him, and he was a good influence on me as well. And then I was kind of listening to some of the stuff, even though I didn't listen to the whole thing because it's really interesting. And I was jumping from one place to the other. So I suggest to all the people who are listening right now to listen to all of the episodes because they're very interesting because you kind of get to learn a lot of things. And I think it was like Jack was talking about his experience when like Elder Parmenter like got moved to his area. Was that you, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, like Elder Noble got sent to my area, so I got to serve with him. So I was like, oh, okay, that's where. So when I listened to your story, I was like, oh, that's where he went, Parmenter, then, because I didn't know where it was going, or I didn't remember at least. So that was cool. That was very very cool. And yeah, I guess my experience, like when it comes to spiritual experiences, you know, I had some crazy like and scary experiences on my mission where I remember like having people like throwing stones at me, and sometimes like there was a time where we got surrounded by a lot of people, and I was with my trainer, I think. Yeah, and we really got surrounded. I was like, this is the end. I was very scared. I was that scared, and these people who were surrounding us were like Celtic supporters, and it's from Sweden. Bautista is from Sweden, and I think he told them that he knew one of the football players, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we're friends now," and I was like, "Yes, finally, we're alive." So sometimes you're gonna be like a little bit strategic to get out of some tough situations, and that's what we did. That's what we did. That was great. One funny thing as well, I never had so much success with women as when I was a missionary. So, but let me explain. I never engaged in any bad behavior during my mission. I tried to be as obedient as I could, and I was successful at that. But it was funny. I remember like when like girls were asking me, "Where are you from?" And of course they will say, "Where are you from?" And I'll be like, "I'm from Italy," and they were like, "Oh, that's so sexy!" Like, I'm like, really? I didn't know that. But it was funny. It was funny. Like people, liked me, and I liked people, and it was great to get to know them, and to love them sincerely. Yeah, and even to this day, like whenever I see like Scottish people around me, I always talk to them, and I kind of have like the same attitude of love and tolerance and respect for the culture, and yeah, that made the whole difference. I guess loving the people, starting to love the people, changed the old perspective. Give me a better perspective. And then, well, I had like Elder Kilgore in Dundee. Yeah, because with Noble we were in Stirling together. Yeah, Elder Kilgore was great. And then like I served in Motherwell as well. Motherwell was my last area with Elder Harvey. He was my last companion. He was a very great guy. Very great guy. The only thing you couldn't talk to him in the morning. Yeah, because I was very happy all the time. I was like, "Hey, good morning," and I think I touched him because we Italians are very touchy people. That can be sometimes can be upsetting. And I remember like him looking at me and saying, "Don't you ever do that again?" And I was like, "Okay, sorry, man." Sorry, man. And then there was another guy. If you can remind me like his name, I don't know if you. I'm sure you've met him. Like he was from Germany, and I think at some point it was even a district leader or something. And I was like in exchanges like with him, and I was very happy in the morning. I don't know maybe I was under drugs on my mission. I don't know. I was very happy all the time.
What
And
part of your mission was this? Early or late?
No, I think it was by the end of my mission, and it was like this guy's from Germany, and I mean you can tell it's from Germany. No offense to Germans, I've got friends in Germany, but he wasn't like smiling in the morning, and he said I start smiling like after 10 a.m. When I see people on the street, and it was funny. It was funny. I'm not making fun of him, but I am in a way, but in a good way. I was smiling all the time, and some people
was it was it Elder Megner?
Yes, Megner. Yes.
Elder Megner. He's a great man. But you're right. I went on a few exchanges with him, and he was just very like hard to read.
Very
right?
precise, maybe. Very precise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it was very committed. Definitely.
Right.
Very good
I agree.
person. Well,
I agree.
we all had like different ways, and when I look back, I feel I was like very immature, as a person, When I look back, I was like, I mean, I was smiling a lot, making fun, making stupid jokes, and I will also now I have to make fun of myself. I was always saying, "I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding," That's what I would say all the time, But it was, I'm glad I changed.
We can all relate to that.
Yeah, I'm glad I changed and I improved myself a little bit. There's still a long way to go, but
One question I have for you, sorry, Jack, to cut you off, was with Elder Bautista and Elder Mortley, how did they help you, come to grasp the English language better? And obviously, it's a different English language in Scotland, but how did they help you in that 6 months that you were in Greenock?
Yeah, I think Bautista was the perfect father for a lost son as I was, because he comes from Sweden, but his dad is from Spain, from the
Right.
Canary Islands, and his mom is Swedish, and he has, of course, a lot of Spanish in him. He had a lot of Spanish culture in him, which is kind of close to the Italian one. So it was very loving. It was very loving, very patient, and I remember I was really listening to him. Like I would really get close with my ear to his lips to hear him, to really try to understand what he was saying. And then eventually, I mean, they gave me love. They gave me love, and they were patient with me, and they were caring, and they will, of course, would try to help me out. The funny thing about my mission is I had a very small dictionary, very small. I never had a huge dictionary, and I think what I learned, it was a miracle, to learn so many things. Of course, it took me time and efforts, and I'm still learning. But it was great. It was great. I was very blessed. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to mention when Zach and I were talking about setting up this episode, I remember, so I came to Clanrothis, I don't know if it was your first or second week, 6 weeks with Elder Bass, but we would walk to church together, right? And I told him I remember singing on the way to church. We're singing at the top of our lungs, I don't know, 8 a.m, and Child's Prayer, duet, and that was a great time. And then also we went and visited St. Andrews, and we sang, sang in a church up there. It was a lot of fun. And that musical talent that you shared helped to strengthen my testimony of music and how it can share the Spirit with people.
Well, I'm glad. Thank you. It's good to hear this, and I think one thing that we should do, if we have memories about a companion, a friend, or somebody, maybe it's good that we tell them, because sometimes we kind of try to. It's good to see ourselves from other people's perspectives as well,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think sometimes maybe we can be too autocritical sometimes, you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Great.
Well,
sorry,
no, you're fine. I think that this is really the whole essence of what we're doing on this podcast is reconnecting, and like you said, listening to Jack's episode and connecting where one missionary came from before they came to you, or vice versa. And it's so interesting how in the moment you feel fairly isolated as a missionary because it's just you and your companion and the one-off opportunities to meet with district meetings or zone conferences or special conferences. But in essence, we were all just a huge intertwined web of people that got to cross paths with each other and spend time with each other. And so, as Jack and I were talking about the anticipation of talking to you, I was recollecting on my first experience with you because I was still a relatively new missionary when I had moved to Dunfermline, and you were with Elder Bass in Kirkcaldy.
Right.
And my first experience with you, I was just like, man, he's just so jovial. He's got he's happy to be here. He clearly loves those around him and wants them to know that. And so I really appreciated that. But at the same time, even though it's interesting you mentioned what you call your flaw of saying just kidding. I remember you saying that a lot, but at the same time, I was looking at you and thinking a lot about the fact that you're coming from a completely different world in coming from Italy, and it's put you in a position where you're just like, I want to make sure that I'm not going to say something that is misinterpreted to the point where people are like, I hate that guy. You know what I mean? And so I appreciated it because it was really the only way in which you could truly express yourself that allowed you to say, hey, this isn't good fun, or this is just my personality and I'm doing the best that I can to share that
Oh
with you
yeah,
in
yeah,
the limited way that you could. But and the funny thing was, so I think we went on an exchange your second transfer with Elder Bass, and you came to Dunfermline, if I remember right.
okay.
Maybe,
Probably.
maybe not. Maybe I went to Kirkcaldy, but I don't remember. But I remember specifically, I saw your character in the moment that you said, "Let me make you dinner," and you made your pasta and scramble egg mix,
Oh
if you
yeah.
remember that dish.
Oh yeah, of
And
course.
I was like, oh my gosh, like the way that you had cooked the pasta and made the noodles, and I know Elder Sprague said specifically we had to say, ask Elder Orilio about his noodles, and he he said that you would get upset about that, so hopefully that didn't offend you.
Yeah, about the word noodles, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was lovely, like to share. I love to share like everything. Like I wasn't like, okay, I shopped for this food, that's mine, and if you come, like I'll cook for you. I'll share. In fact, Elder Baz and I, we shared a lot of our food, and I loved cooking for him. I just loved it. So yeah, it was totally, like openly, like share everything, and that
Yeah.
that made the difference. Yeah.
Well, and then beyond that, like I don't know if you remember this, but so I was your district leader when
Yeah,
you were
I remember that.
in Motherwell on your last transfer, and I was only there for a short 6 weeks, which happened to be your last 6 weeks. But
Yeah.
I remember having the opportunity of going on exchanges with you to Motherwell,
Oh, okay.
and you probably don't remember this, but this is one of my lasting memories. And I remember we were walking from the flat um, to somewhere. I would imagine it was probably to the high street in Motherwell, and
Right.
we walked in this area where it was kind of in between some shops, and there was some overhangs and a very narrow slit of Scotland sky above us. And you had identified that particular area as a perfect acoustic place to sing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so you just, the second you walked into that corridor, you started to sing a hymn, and I was just like, man, this guy just resonates everything that is good about this church and everything about what it's like to be a missionary and to be an example of the Savior. And so you left a very grand impression on me that particular day, because I'd already had experiences with you, and obviously we played some intense hacky sack after
Oh, yeah,
district
yeah, yeah.
meetings
That's right. That's
in
right.
at the Kirkcaldy building. But nonetheless, that those were the things that I recall about you, and you were always just so happy. Always gave me big hugs. I mean, just it was always good to be with you and be around you. So thanks for
Yeah.
being that.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have any particular memories that you'd like to share of President and Sister Vriens? So,
Well, it was like,
you shared your first impression with
well, Elder
seeing the
Breen.
picture, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Elder Breen is like, okay, my first impression of, like, well, the first day I met President Vriens, um, we were like at the mission home, and one of my friends from my group like was sick and it was upstairs. And I remember like President Vriens being very, serious, and he was following a specific pattern as he was eating his food. It was just like cut. I think it was like chicken or whatever, cutting the chicken, like, pinching his fork on the chicken, eating the chicken, and then like cleaning his mouth with a tissue, with a tissue, and then drinking, like giving a little sip of water and put it back, and it would just repeat the pattern all over and all over again. But then, like I remember Sister Vriens was called to pray, and she was like, so she's funny, she's funny, and she was praying, and she said like, and she would say something like this. I'm not like doing the impression, but she was like going on and saying like, "Oh, Heavenly Father, please bless this elder, whatever his name is." And then she started laughing like, and I heard her like laughing. I was like, "What's going on?" And I didn't know. Like, of course, I was new. Like, that was my first day in the mission. I didn't know, but I was sure that she was laughing. And then I was like, at some point, I kind of doubted, and I was like, "She crying, or is she laughing, or crying and laughing at the same time?" And then like, yeah, when she finished the prayer, you could see like President Vriens was like still like continuous endless pattern of eating pattern and drinking pattern, and he was like staring at her in a very serious way. But he would call me like, he would be like President Brin's, pardon me, was like he would say, Elder Aurelio, my Italian friend, and then he would give me a big hug. That's how. Yeah, he would greet me all the time, and he was. I mean, he's a great man, and I had a chance to meet with him. It was 6 years ago, because I went to Utah, and yeah, I managed to meet with him, and he came to pick me up at the place where I was staying in South Provo, and it was great. We went out to a restaurant. He took me to a restaurant for lunch, and one thing I remember, it was like Sister Vriens. She's amazing. I mean, she was like talking to Siri, Siri like from the iPhone, as if Siri was a real person. And so she would ask questions to Siri and be like, "Oh, Siri, that's so kind of you." I'm like, wow. He kind of developed a deep relationship with Siri. I mean, she was lovely, like even with the artificial intelligence, and and then like we went to this restaurant, we had a great time, and yeah, she was like, "I remember you weren't hiring your shirts very well on your mission." I was like, "Oh, really? Oh, okay." You know, but yeah, and then I was touched, by President Rings, because like I was in the States and I didn't have much money. Like it's a long story. I won't tell you this time, but it's a long story. I ended up like going there for a trip, and when we said goodbye, I remember like President Dreams. He handed me like $100 note, and he let it like left it on my hand, and I was like, wow, this man like really like understand. I didn't ask for help or anything, but I was like, this man really like understood like my situation, and yeah, I remember it was kind of like impatient with certain things, because aging and all the stuff is not easy on people, and but yeah, I really miss him. I really miss him and Sister Breeze, and such amazing people, and great leaders and mentors, definitely.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, thank you.
I think you embodied, especially Sister Brains, there very well. She had a great sense of humor.
And she was doing the piggy. How is it called? Sister Piggy something. She was like putting on the piggy nose, and
Yep.
and reminding us about spring cleaning day, and all this stuff. It was funny. It was definitely funny. Yeah.
Well, man, I don't know. My heart is so full. Just I love being in this situation, talking with you, Salvo. It's been so fun. Um, is there anyone? I mean, obviously, you've listed a number of your missionary companions. Is there any other missionaries that you'd like to hear from in the podcast as we move forward? Because we would be lost without insight from people like yourself who remember people that we may have completely just missed. So is there anyone else that you'd like to hear from besides your companions and beyond now?
Yeah. Anyone you want to shout out?
Well, I would love to hear from Elder Bass if you're planning on that. He's such a great guy. I mean, every like companion I was with, like, they were special people, you know. Even Bautista. Bautista is like, he's currently the stake leader, the stake president in Sweden. I don't remember like which city, but he's currently like a stake president. So it's gone a long way.
As we are speaking, his episode is coming next week, so you will hear from
perfect son and then father. You know, he's such a great guy. You know, such a great guy. So I'm glad.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Anyone else you can think of besides your amazing companions? I have reached out to Elder Bass, and I have yet to hear back from him. So, Russ, check your messages.
Yeah, yeah. I can't remember. I mean, no one comes to my mind, as you know, right now. But if somebody comes up, like, I'll let you know. I'll send you a text or something. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's the other great thing about this, is that now we have reconnected in a way that, you know, I'm not a big WhatsApp person, but the fact that that's a usable thing to get in touch with people across the world is really quite amazing. So
yeah, it is. Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate you, Salvo, taking time. As far as, you know, how we like to wrap this up, just give us your long-lasting impressions of Scotland and how it has put a true imprint on your life, and how that is your experience there influences you each day.
Well, it's hard to address without, you know, like, getting a little bit kind of you know, emotional. I think, like, for me, and I'll try to be like stronger as I say this because I don't want to cry. I think for me, like, the you know, my missionary experience pardon me, was the time where, like, I felt like the strongest connection with heaven, and I saw miracles on my mission, both spiritual miracles and physical miracles as well. And I've never felt the Lord so close in my life as when I was on my mission, you know. So, you know, if you put all these things together with, you know, service, with, you know, forgetting ourselves and going to work, you know, I'm kind of like paraphrasing the you know, Gordon B. Hinckley's father's note. That's what all of us did. I feel that we all did it in our own way, and, you know, some people, you know, maybe seemed that they didn't do it as well as we did, but I think as long as they, you know, gave their best, they did a great job with that, and we did a great job with that, and we were, like, as you said, like, we were like all together, and it felt as we were like an army of people, like people of God, you know, working on His side, and having, you know, the celestial armies on the other side supporting us as well. I felt that, you know, the you know, the line between, you know, earth and, you know, the veil was very thin on my mission. You know, we were like definitely on the Lord's side, and that's like everything that I will cherish, and I will, you know, cherish, you know, forever in my heart. You know, the connection that we build and the testimonies that we, you know, were able to develop and grow, and the testimony of the Savior, you know, and how, like, you know, the scriptures, the Book of Mormon, like, testified of Him, and how, like, life is such a short journey, and we gotta be prepared for what's after this life. And our experience was like a Christ-like experience, and maybe we didn't serve perfect missions, but we were under like a perfect master, which is Jesus Christ. So that's my, idea and opinion.
Amen to that.
Yeah, thank you.
Beautiful.
No, you couldn't have said it better. That was very, very perfectly poetic. So thank you. Well, for those of you listening, we really appreciate you tuning in. And if there's any of you that want to step into the hot seat like Salvo has tonight, you can send us an email. Our email address is sempodcast@51spylaw.com, or you can visit the website 51spylaw.com and fill out a contact sheet. We are so excited to continue this, and Salvo, we appreciate you taking time.
Thank you.
We love you and know that you are our brother in Scotland. So thank you
Love
so
you too.
much for being on, and we hope that we can connect again in the future. One other thing that we want to propose, and we've proposed this before, but we have had some missionary companions that if they want to be a co-host on an episode with a companion,
Wow, that would be cool.
we will certainly look into some of those opportunities moving forward. We have one on the schedule already, so
Wow,
we'll certainly keep you in touch as we connect with more and more people. And if as we get this published, we will have you share it with those around you, and hopefully we can connect with more and more. So thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, Salvo, thanks again. Have a great rest of your night. We'll talk to you.
You too, guys. God bless. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.